This is Millennial Money Mindset. If you want the fruits, you need the roots. Thanks for joining us. Today, we're going to give away loads of value. Do you want to know the one thing that separates financially thriving individuals from the rest? Are you ready to take control of your finances and your financial destiny? In the next few minutes, I'll disclose proven methods that can transform your money into a powerhouse of growth. So wouldn't it be incredible to turn your hard-earned money into a powerful wealth generator? So get ready, because today I reveal the tried and tested technique that has potential. It's got the potential to change your life. So stay right to the end, because we're going to give away loads of value in this episode. And so what we're going to go to today is the hero's journey. So this is chapter 3 of my book, Millennial Money Mindset. And this is an exclusive because I usually only use the chapters in each book for my money meetups. We meet monthly, and today is a special episode because I'm going to give away this on YouTube and on TikTok, and podcast. So we're Millennial Money Mindset on podcast and YouTube channel, named after my book, Millennial Money Mindset. And we're using the analogy of the hero's journey and Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, which is we'll go through this explanation in this talk. So this is going to be really impactful, and this is the one thing. We're going to give away a spoiler alert, because this encapsulates the main message of my book. So if you're listening, you're watching, strap in, because this is going to be really impactful. So we're using the analogy of the hero's journey. So why the hero's journey? So there's every story in history that's ever been written follows a similar pattern. So if you think of Star Wars or Harry Potter or the Wizard of Oz, which we're using today, they all have a similar pattern. And this is what the author Joseph Campbell found out. He looked back through myths of common myths through history, through human history, and he realized there's a similar pattern that we follow through. Every story has a similar pattern, and this episode has a similar pattern, and this story of the Wizard of Oz also has a similar pattern. So credit goes to The Hero with a Thousand Faces, which is the book written by Joseph Campbell. So we all have a similar pattern. So where there is a hero of the journey, this could be you today. This is your hero's journey. So maybe you have a call to adventure. Maybe you're frustrated with your current life. You're not getting what you want. Maybe you're not getting the best returns on your savings. We're going through a cost of living crisis. So many people are struggling today. Maybe you think you're far off becoming financially independent and retiring early, where you can choose how to live your life, where you have enough assets that are paying you an income so you can choose to work. You have the option to go to work or do whatever you want with your day. This is what is financially independent. In the old days, they call this retirement, and from other videos, the rules have changed. So it's completely different to our parents' generation. And if you're here watching this video, then you are we're going to reveal some of these secrets that we talk about. So you have this call to adventure. This is maybe you watching this video. Then you have a threshold guardian. So every story has a threshold guardian. This is the Wicked Witch of the West in the Wizard of Oz. Maybe this is Darth Vader in the Star Wars stories. And then you reach a threshold. So this is a threshold where you think, actually, this is too scary to go ahead, and you kind of have a realization that actually you're not going to be able to beat this baddie or beat this the bad guardian without help from a mentor. So this is in the Wizard of Oz. This is the other, the Good Witch, where she actually helps Dorothy to actually get to where she wants to get to along the yellow brick road. So you meet a helper, you meet a mentor, and then you have the abyss, which is the death and rebirth. So in every story that's ever been told, you have this the character had a kind of realization, and then they have a death and then rebirth. When they kind of become bigger, they become kind of more of themselves and become become a better version of themselves. And then they have a revelation, and then a transformation happens, and then you go back to where they started from. So it's this kind of circle journey where So Dorothy has the journey where she goes to the Wizard of Oz, and she goes down the Yellow Brick Road, and she meets her friends along the way. And we're going to kind of cover this today. So stay right ahead, stay right there, because we're going to go through this today. So, and then you come back to the return. So Dorothy returns back to her home in Kansas, and she's a better, bigger person, and realized that actually she didn't need to go to the Wizard of Oz. Everything she needed was actually inside her. And it was the journey, this kind of hero's journey, that brought her back to where she started, a bigger, better person. So this is the same with your investing. And we're going to use this analogy today. So you may be having a payday circle of life where you get paid, and you realize that actually at the end of the month, you don't have enough savings or money left at the end of the month to put money into savings or investing. And this is kind of a payday circle of life. So you realize you get paid, and then you realize, oh, I'm a millionaire or a billionaire, and you think you're rich, and you go and treat yourself. Maybe that's go out for a lunch, or buy some new clothes, or you buy a new gadget or something. And then you think and you realize actually, as you come to the end of the month, you realize actually, let's be responsible. Life is for living. You buy those shoes anyway. And then it gets close to the end of the month, and you realize, oh no, what have I done? And then you realize help. And then you realize at the end of the payday, end of the month, you have no money left to save. You have more month at the end of the month rather than the other way around. So this is a common problem that I see people where they live paycheck to paycheck, and they struggle to make ends meet. And this has become more and more common with the cost of living crisis. Inflation's increasing. We're not getting we're gone through the deepest, darkest recession in recorded history. So it's not your fault. We're all living through these kind of tough times. And this is my job here as a money coach, to make it easier for you. So we want to make it as easy as possible to save and invest and to become financially independent. And this is what this channel, Millennial Money Mindset, does. This is what our monthly money meetups does. We meet up, give you tips, tricks, and techniques to make life easier, to make saving easier, to make investing easier. And this is exactly what we do on this channel. So if it sounds interesting, then subscribe to this channel, press that subscribe button, because we release videos that put more money in your pocket, more time in your day, and more happiness in your life. So press that like button, press that subscribe button, because it really helps. And it means that you'll get more money, videos to improve your money mindset, to tips on how to save, and to work out how to invest. And the end goal is to become financially independent and retire early. So that is the payday circle of life. And then we realize how much is enough. So one of the key concepts of financial independence is actually working out how much is enough. So we go through we get paid, and we think actually there's a balance that we have between fulfillment and between consumption. So it's easy to consume. Today there's so many adverts bombarding us, telling us to buy the next shiny object, the next gadget to get, or the next kind of gets to go out and spend our hard-earned money. And there's a balance between consumption and fulfillment, actually. And we realize, so when we get paid, we have to pay our bills, we have to pay the roof over our head, we have to have enough money to put food on the table. And this is a balance here. If you're seeing this, you can see the graph on the screen. This is survival mode. Actually, how much do we need to meet our basic survival needs? And as we earn more money, we actually get into a level of comfort. We have enough food on the table, we have enough shelter over our head, the roof overhead. We can get water every day from our tap. And this means that we're not having our basic survival needs anymore. And we get to a stage where actually we're quite comfortable. If we have a steady job, and our steady job covers our expenses each month, then we get to a level of comfort, and this is actually all right. We've got fulfillment, we've got balance between fulfillment and consumption, and this is the area of comfort. But actually, to grow in ourselves, we need to move out of our comfort zone, and actually to improve we actually have to take a step into the unknown, and this is scary, to move into the unknown. And then if we move further into consumption, we end up into luxury. And actually we spend more money than actually we necessarily need to. And take a step further, then we go to extravagant, where actually the more we consume, actually we don't get any more fulfillment from each consumption. So think of it like, if you eat a donut, the first donut tastes really good. It means that we have, you know, fats and sugars to ensure that we have enough energy to last a day. But if we have the second donut, we get kind of comfortable, and it tastes really nice, and it's still kind of good, but it's not as good as the first donut. It doesn't reach our needs as a human. It just means that we're comfortable. If we have a third donut, we have actually we're kind of in luxury time. We don't need this third donut, and it means that actually we don't need to have this donut. We're not going to die if we don't have this third donut. And then the next donut is the fourth donut, and this is extravagance. And actually it's this fourth donut, we maybe feel a little bit sick. We maybe feel actually we have a bit of a sugar rush. We feel our teeth are actually kind of getting eroded by this amount of sugar. And this is the extravagance. And it's actually realizing, the key concept is actually realizing how much is enough, and knowing that the money coming in needs to balance the money going out. And this is a key concept of financial literacy, financial education, and personal finances. So we have to balance the money coming in versus the money going out. And there's a sweet spot where we have enough. We have enough money coming in to save, to invest, and to invest into our future, where this is how much is enough. And it's a balance between consumption and fulfillment. And this is getting the balance right, between, if we overeat, we have more donuts, actually it's not going to give us any more satisfaction. It's actually not going to give us any more fulfillment. And it's having this kind of luxury. And this is the journey we need to go on, through our personal finance journey that we need to go on. And this is what we do today. We're going to cover a bit more into this in detail. So we cover assets. One thing, what we can do is to buy assets that are going to put money into our pockets. So the aim of financial independence is to buy assets that are going to actually grow in value, or that's going to actually produce an income for us, that's going to put money into our pockets. So Robert Kiyosaki, in the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, talks about there's a number of different assets, and he uses this diagram that's on the screen at the moment. So assets could be property, the roof over your head. It could be businesses in the stock market. It could be bonds, where we're lending money to governments or corporations, or it could be your own business. Maybe this is intellectual property. You write a book, and this book puts money into your pockets every month through royalties. So I wrote a book called Millennial Money Mindset, and each month I get money going into my bank because people are buying my book. It was shortlisted by the Financial Times Writing Prize in 2018, and it was an Amazon bestseller in 2019. So if you want a great book on personal finances, buy Millennial Money Mindset. If you want the fruits, you need the roots. It's available on Amazon or my website, moneytips.org. And the aim of the game is to buy more assets to put more money into your pocket that's going to give you an income and reduce your liabilities. So your liabilities could be credit cards, mortgages. It could be consumer loans. Like if you're take a loan out to buy a car, for instance, these are all liabilities, and these are going to take money out of your pocket. So each month, if you've got a credit card, you're going to be paying interest on that loan. You're going to be paying interest on that debt, and that's going to take money out of your pocket each month. If you have a mortgage, I have a mortgage, and every month I have to pay that mortgage, and that's taking money out of my pocket. And I live in a family home, and that's not paying me money at the moment because I'm not renting it out. Whereas I've got a buy-to-let, and that's getting money into my pocket because I rent that out, and the tenant pays me money each month. So it's a key concept to understand the difference between assets versus liability. So an asset is simply something that puts money into your pocket, and a liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. And the aim of the game is to buy assets that are going to pay you money so you don't need to work. You have the option to go to work. You wake up each morning and think, actually, do I need, you don't need to go on that hour commute into the office. You don't need to get up on that cold February morning to de-ice the car to go to work. You don't need to sit next to that colleague that you don't necessarily like. If you're financially independent, you have enough assets that are paying you an income, so you don't need to work. And this is the key concept to understand. So it's really, really important. So financial independence is where you have assets that are paying you more money than your expenses. So to understand, how do you do this? Maybe you're asking. So the key concept is to buy assets. And then what you want to be doing is to be keeping your expenses. You don't want to increase your expenses as your earnings increase. So this is called lifestyle creep, where the more money you get paid, say you get a promotion at work, then you go out and buy a new suit because you feel rich, because you feel richer. And the key concept is you want to be keeping your expenses low. You don't want to be, your expenses don't want to be rising with your earnings, and you want to be kind of fighting against this to keep your expenses low, so that you have more earnings going into your pocket, so you can buy assets that are going to pay for your expenses in the long term. So you want to be buying assets that are going to grow in value or pay you an income, and you want to be reducing your expenses or keeping your expenses low, so you don't have this lifestyle creep that's going to keep increasing over you, keep increasing up. I've got a comment saying I'm off to eat donuts, so thank you, Lewis, for saying that in the comments section. So please please subscribe. Please tell a friend about Millennial Money Mindset. We aim to put money into your pocket, more time in your day, and more happiness in your life. So this is a key concept where you've got money and time. And if your earnings increase, you want to be keeping your expenses low, so your earnings can grow over time. So let's go. We're going to go to a spoiler alert. So this is one of the key concepts of my book, Millennial Money Mindset. And the key concept is diversification. So you want to be splitting your money between land, business, and keeping some money in reserve. So land is the roof over your head. Businesses, it could be money in the stock market, or it could be your own business. And reserves is cash in the bank, or bonds, or I would even say cryptocurrency could be some reserves, or insurance could be money in reserve. So the roof over your head is, you could split your money between and land, business, and keeping some money in reserves. And this is a key concept, because you're not going to be stressing, worrying about the stock market. If you've got a diversified portfolio, this is like having a team of assets that are working for you. You've got different asset classes that perform differently depending on the different economic cycles. So cash does better in downturns, because you've got cash to cover your expenses. If you lose your job, for instance, if there's a recession and there's increasing unemployment, if you've got enough cash in your pocket or in your bank, you don't need to sell that money in the stock market when it's at a low. And so property tends to do better than the stock market in different times. So different assets work differently together, at different times in the economic cycle. So this is important to understand. It's like a team of assets. So think of it, a team at work. Different roles have different personalities. So someone in sales, for instance, has a different personality than someone in accounts. The person in sales might be kind of extrovert, they might be outgoing, they might be a people person. So that's great for if they get on a call to speak to clients to sell their product. Whereas someone in accounts might be kind of introvert, they might be really good at numbers, they might not necessarily be good with people, but they're great with figures and numbers. And there's no right or wrong, they're just different. And each personality has a role in that team to play. And that's similar. Each asset class has a different role to play in your investing team. And this is really key to understand for your personal finances. And the aim is to have compound interest working for you in the long term. So what is compound interest? And that's exactly what we're going to get into now. So compound interest is the interest on your interest. So if you get paid, say for instance, a dividend, which is part of the profits of a business, or if you put money into a bank, and banks are now, interest rates have risen recently. So this means the bank will pay you to keep money in your account, which is great. It can be 5 or 6%, for instance. So you put money into a bank and the bank will pay you for that keeping that money. So you get 5-6% interest rate, and if you increase this over, if you reinvest that interest in that bank, or that dividend in that, from the shares you own, or for instance, if you have a buy-to-let property and you have rent coming in and you reinvest that into other properties or into the stock market, or put that into a bank and get interest, this is going to build up over time, and it increases over time. So this is, compound interest is known as the most powerful force on the planet. So the most powerful mathematical force on the planet is what Albert Einstein said. So compound interest is really key, but the real key is you need to make regular contributions. So we talked about the payday circle of life, where you have payday at the end of that working month, you have nothing left to give. But what you need to do is to make sure your expenses are less, earn more than you spend, and invest the difference. And if you can make regular contributions each month, if that's from £10 up to £100 or £1,000, if you can, if you're getting on a higher income, and invest that difference. And this is how you're going to build up compound interest. So it's compound interest plus regular contributions is the secret. So every month, and you pay automatically, that you can go into a savings account or into an investment account, and this can pay automatically every month without even thinking about it. And then this will build into compound interest. So let's break down more into compound interest. So it's a process of earning interest on both the initial investment and any accumulated interest over time. So it allows your money to grow exponentially as the interest is added to the principal, resulting in a compound effect. This is this snowball. So if you think of it like a snowball, if you ever got a snowball and kind of compressed it and then pushed it up along the snow, and this snow collects and it builds and it builds and it builds. So it starts off really small, and you push and push, and it ends up into a giant snowball. This is the same as compound interest. So time is a critical factor. So the longer your money remains invested, the more time it has to grow and compound. Emphasis the importance of starting early. So the more time you have in the stock market, the more time that has to grow. So it's time in the market rather than trying to time the market. So let's use an example. So if you invest £10,000 at an annual interest rate of 8%, so let's go 8%. So for 30 years, it would grow to approximately £100,626. So that £10,000 will grow to £100,000 using that compound interest. So this is the impact of consistent contribution. So we talked about regularly adding to that investment can significantly amplify the power of compound interest. And there's a real secret to calculate this, to how to work out how to double your money. And this is called the rule of 72. And we talked about this in the last video, where you divide the annual interest rates by 72, and this works out how quickly your money can double. So check out the video, the last video, and we go into how you can calculate this. So if you invested £1,000 a month at an annual rate of 10% for 30 years, your investment would grow to around £1,872,740. So this showcases the incredible wealth building potential of compound interest. And just go, if you don't believe me, or these numbers seem kind of abstract to you, go Google what compound interest calculate, and just type in, just play around with it. Type in that £10,000, add in the interest rate over 35 years. And if you add in this £500 initial, if you pay £500 every month, that £10,000 at 7% interest over 35 years, adding in £500 a month, that's going to grow to over £1 million. So it's going to grow to £1,150,000. So just play around with this. Go into a compound interest calculator, and of that over £1 million, so £700,000 of that amount is total interest earned. So it's like free money. You're not working for this. Your money is working for this. And this is kind of, if you can get your head around this, this is the secret and this is the secret of personal finances. So it's essentially free money because your money is working for you. You're not going out to work. You're not working and getting paid an hourly wage. Your money is working for you. When you sleep, when you're working, when you're not working, your money is out there working. It's like having loads of little worker bees going out and working for you when you don't need to be there. So we talked about the splitting your money between land, business, and reserves. And in my book, I use an analogy of coming back to the Wizard of Oz. So that Dorothy has 3 friends. She meets the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Lion. And in my book, I use the analogy of the land in investment is like the Scarecrow, business is like the Tin Man, and reserves is like the Lion. So just think, land, having money in property. I know property prices are crazy at the moment. There was an article about nationwide saying that property price has dropped recently, but many people, especially millennials who are watching this, have been priced out of the property market, especially in London or cities like Oxford or kind of Cambridge, where property prices are really high in the southeast of England and cities all around the world. And it's really hard to actually get money working for you if you can't get onto the property market. But you don't have to buy in these kind of high value areas. You don't have to live in the property. You can rent out the property. The way I got onto the property market was to buy outside of London. I bought in Bristol, which is much less expensive than kind of big areas like London. Or you don't have to buy a whole house. You can buy what is called REIT, so real estate investment trust, and you can buy these to get an exposure into property. You can buy these real estate investment trusts, and we talk about how to do this in our money meetups, or I talk about this in my course, Millennial Money Mindset. If you're interested in learning more about money, then I'll link my course in the comments, and it will teach you how to put money into your pocket, more time in your day, and more happiness in your life. So the analogy is the Scarecrow, and the Scarecrow needs a brain in the Wizard of Oz. And yeah, it seems so difficult to actually invest, but property has been a no-brainer investment for the last 20 years. And it is what the brilliant thing about property is that you can go and add value to that property. You can paint, or you can put a new front door on relatively cheaply. You can use your sweat equity. You can put a new kitchen in and actually improve the value of the property, and it will increase the price of that property, and which you can do using your own time, energy, and your own resources. So the next analogy that we used was to have the Tin Man, and the Tin Man doesn't have a heart. And it's a bit like capitalism. It can be quite a cruel system, capitalism, but it's done well in the last 100, 200 years. This graph goes back all the way to 1789, and it shows the ups and downs of the market. It even shows you the 1929 crash, and the market still rises. So actually putting your money into living, breathing companies has been a good investment over the long term. So you're investing in innovation, ingenuity, and invention. So humans have been great at creating new value for other people. So business is about solving meaningful problems, and this is how you can put your money into this wealth generator, which is the stock market. And you can reduce your risk. People think, Neil, the stock market is risky, and while it can be risky, it's actually more risky keeping all your money in cash, because it's going to get eroded by inflation, and inflation is the spending power in your pocket. So the amount of money that you had 5 years ago is less than the amount of money that you can buy today, because inflation is eroding the spending power in your pocket. And inflation is around 10% at the moment, which is really high comparatively to 5-10 years ago. And money, you think maybe that investing is risky, but you can reduce your risk by 60% by not buying one company. You can now, because of technology, you can invest in hundreds of companies all around the world, which will reduce your risk. You reduce counterparty risk, which means you're not investing in one company. Because, say, for instance, if you buy Tesla and Elon Musk goes out and says something silly on Twitter, which can impact the stock price, and the price of Tesla drops, then this can impact this will impact your money, and you'll see a drop in your returns. But by diversifying, by having this team of assets that we talked about, having different asset classes working for you, you can reduce your risk by 60%. So you want to reduce your risk as much as possible. And you can do this by diversifying your team of assets, having money in stocks, in the stock market, having property, the roof over your head, and keeping some money in reserves, in cash, in bonds, or having insurance, for instance, or even putting money into cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum. These are diversifying. You're going to have a more rounded, more balanced team of assets if you have more assets working for you. And then finally, to keep money in reserve. So don't put all your money in the stock market, because the market can fall. And if the market falls and you need to take that money out, you don't want to be buying at the bottom, because you're going to be losing money. You're going to be able, you want to be able to ride out those ups and downs of the market. So you want to have cash in the bank. So you want to have an emergency fund. You want to have a safety net. So even the worst things can happen in life and you'll be all right, because you have money to cover these emergencies. And this is going to give you massive peace of mind. This is going to mean that you're not going to be stressing and worrying if the market drops. So this is having a safety net, that the worst things can happen and you'll be all right. And it's going to give you great peace of mind. So also reserves are, you put money in bonds. This is where you're lending money. You're giving your money to governments, for instance, like premium bonds in the UK, or you can give money to corporations, like Tesco's, for instance, have bonds, or big corporations have money and they have bonds where they borrow money because they want to expand. They might want to build a new store, or they might want to buy some machinery, or they might want to take on new staff. And to do that, they need money. And there's a different way to do this. They can sell shares, they can sell equity, like put money into which is the stock market, where if you buy shares, you become an owner of that company. But many companies don't want to do that. They don't want to give away their equity. They don't want to give away their ownership, their share ownership. So what they often do is they borrow money from the market, and at a certain rate. So and that rate depends on how risky how much risk you're taking. So the higher risk, the more reward you're going to get. So if you're lending money to a company that's not likely to pay you back, then you're going to get paid a higher amount for taking that risk, compared to if you're lending your money to a government. For instance, the UK government, they can just print money, so then they're highly likely to pay you back the money that you've lent them. And then the other part of reserves is insurance. So the worst things can happen, and it will give you massive peace of mind that your loved ones will be all right if you have insurance. So if you die, for instance, you can get life insurance to cover you for your family. Or if you've got a mortgage, your debt doesn't die with you. So if you have insurance and you die, that mortgage will get paid off, and that's going to give you massive peace of mind to your loved ones. And other part of reserves is the cryptocurrency. So Bitcoin is a hedge against a banking collapse, and gold. So you can buy gold, which is the price of bread in gold has been stable for centuries. So you can buy this commodity, which is gold. And in the analogy of the Wizard of Oz, the gold is the lion. So the lion needs courage. So don't keep all your money in reserves. You need courage to go out and lend money to. You need courage to go out and put money into the stock market. So you need courage to go and buy your first property. It's quite scary to buy your first property, putting money into these asset classes that could go down in value. But it's quite scary, but you need courage, just like lion got courage in the Wizard of Oz. So yeah, to summarize, diversify is the secret to investing. So don't put all your money in one asset class. Don't keep all your money in cash, for instance. You think that's being safe, but actually you need to go out and invest. You need to go out and give. You're giving your money to buy a part of ownership of companies. So all around, you can buy companies all around the world, which is great. And they go out and generate profits for you, and you get money back for taking that risk. You can buy property. You can go and buy the roof over your head. I know property prices are crazy at the moment. If you can buy with a partner or a brother, then that's great. That means that you can borrow more money to buy the property. But it's not easy. I know it's not easy. And I think that government have been responsible for increasing property prices, and they haven't been helped. The conservative voters are generally more likely to be property owners. So the current government in the UK have an incentive to keep property prices high, and they've done things like incentives like the buy-to-let scheme. They've done things like keeping interest rates low. I know that's the Bank of England's job, but the government is the Bank of England's boss, so they encourage or they steer the Bank of England to do what they what's best for their core voters. And the other thing you can do is you can buy REITs, so real estate investment trusts. And you can buy these relatively cheaply from £10, £20, and this gives you exposure into the property prices. So this has been a video about diversification and about how to build your team of assets over time. So this is I originally did this as part of our money meetup. So we have meetups every month. We meet on the last Monday of the month. So if this is interesting to you, if you want to learn more about money, if you want to learn how to become financially independent, if you want to learn more about investing, then come along to our meetups. It's available on our website, moneytips.org. Tips is spelled with 2 P's. I'll link it below, and come along. The first meeting is free. We have a members area where has a whole load of value, whole load of tools and techniques and tips to put more money in your pocket, more time in your day, and more happiness in your life. So my name is Neil Doig. I'm the founder of Money Tips, tax, investment, property, pension, savings. This channel is called Millennial Money Mindset. If you want the fruits, you need the roots. It's based on we've got a YouTube channel, we've got a podcast, and my book is called Millennial Money Mindset. It was shortlisted for the Financial Times Writing Prize, and it was an Amazon bestseller. So pick your copy up today. It gives a simple 5-step method to get more money in your pocket, more time in your day, and more happiness in your life. So please please subscribe, and please tell a friend. This has been Neil. This has been Millennial Money Mindset, and see you next time.